Welcome to Tech Tuesday on the Final Boss podcast, where innovation meets attitude, and the future gets decoded one bite at a time. I'm your host, Turbo the CEO, and your co-host, Mike Foth. And today we're diving deep into the tech trenches to uncover the tools, trends, and truths shaping tomorrow. Whether you're a code slinger, gadget geek, or just tech curious, this is your weekly power-up. So grab your controller, plug in, and let's level up.
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, episode number 160. We are live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. for Tech Tuesday with our Text Me, the Sensei. Let's welcome the Sensei. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all the support. I was just informed and confirmed that on Amazon, the hard copy of Go Time is temporarily sold out. Please keep going, people. Let's keep going. The motivation manuscript workbook is here. You need it. Go get it. Go get it off Amazon. Go Time, all aboard the fired up train. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show for you tonight. Like I said before, this is episode number 160 going into episode number 200. 200 is around the corner. It will be here before you know it. And we have a magnificent show for you tonight. So thank you, everyone, no matter where you are, watching us or listening from Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Kick, or for your audio listening pleasures, Spotify. Thank you. And to each and every single one of you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Sometimes I forget to give you guys the greeting of the day, but I do surely do it at the end of each episode. So please forgive me if I don't do it before or prior. Look, continue to like, share, subscribe. Give us your comments, give us your emails, shoot us emails at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. We greatly appreciate all the feedback that you're giving us, even from the trolls, guys. We love trolls. Please continue to troll. Sending your messages, sending us emails. We greatly appreciate those. Sensei, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling great.
Good.
Remember, I got an opening. We study the machine. We don't argue with the decorations.
Boom. There it is, people. There it is. And with that being said, this is the Final Boss Podcast, Final Boss Community, Final Boss Nation, Tech Tuesday. I am your host, the one and only Final Boss. He is the Sensei. He is our co-host. And tonight, we're not talking about, we're going to be talking about the internet, but not the internet you use. We're talking about the internet that will be replacing it. Right. We touched on that a little bit in the past, but we're going to do a deep dive tonight. Right. We're going to do a deep dive tonight. Where's my wand? I'm not prepared. Let's go. All right.
Is that your Harry Potter wand?
Yeah, it's my Harry Potter wand. Bing. Tonight, we're not talking about the internet you use, people. We're talking about the one that's going to be replacing it. And right now, while you scroll, while you stream, while you think you're secure, there's a new infrastructure being built underneath everything you know. The company building, right? The company building it, the one that's holding the internet together for 30 years, but never gets the headlines. That company starts with a C and ends with an O, and Cisco is in the middle, right? And this isn't about faster speeds or better routers. This is about quantum networking, a complete physics level upgrade that rewrites security, surveillance, AI control, and global power itself. Sensei, so let's set the table for us and the community, please, sir.
So, I mean, you said it right. You absolutely said it right. Cisco is the one that's running it because it's crazy that we look at this and we think of all this new technology that's coming out, and it's not necessarily that we're talking about faster Wi-Fi or we're not talking 6G. This is quantum networking. It's a completely new physics layer that changes everything. We change security, surveillance, AI, all of it. Everything changes. And we're going to break it down in plain English. But it's so important because this is the structure. This is what everything runs on. And it completely changes the whole game. And it's changing now. It's being built now.
Man. Sensei, thank you for sharing that with us. Um, you know, we're going to be breaking it down, right? As he said, as the sensei said, we're going to be breaking it all down for you in different components. To my smarts, motivators, warriors, this one is critical, right? So make sure you stay locked in, and let's get ready to get into it. Sensei, how was your week? Before we
Busy,
busy. Yeah.
busy,
You want to
just
tell us about how
busy.
busy it was?
Oh yeah. So, I travel. So I travel to do physical work. And when I'm
Hmm.
out doing physical work, it's 12, 14-hour days, but it's good for the soul.
Okay.
But we had to get home because the holidays are coming. And
Right.
I got some good cooking gonna happen tomorrow. We
Oh.
we're gonna be
Mhm.
doing good. Gonna have a little bit of traditional versus non-traditional. We're gonna combine it up and have ourselves a
Okay.
nice pleasant evening. So it's going to be good. So
Oh
yeah,
man.
we're rock and rolling. It's a busy day. Went
Okay.
over the border today, took care of some business. Do that on a
Nice.
pretty regular basis. So
Okay.
yeah, life's good. Actually had some
Oh.
rain down here in Yuma today.
Oh, how much rain did you get?
It was crazy. We had rain. It was like wild because we had rain like for like 4 hours of rain, and we don't
Okay.
normally get rain this time of the year, but it was wild. We had some wet stuff, so
All
that
right.
was cool.
Cool. Well, um, since thank you for sharing that with us. I would love to see what the rain looks like out there, man. It has to be a fascinating sight for sure.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get rain, and it doesn't melt. It doesn't just go away.
Okay.
It sits on the road. It's kind of pretty wild.
All right. All right. All right. You know, um, Sensei, people, they hear quantum and they think it's 20 years away, right? But Cisco doesn't play with sci-fi. They play with inevitability, right? So why is this happening now?
So the reason it's happening now is because we talked about quantum computing happening, where instead of using zeros and ones, we're using the next level of communication. So quantum networking is the biggie. Okay, it's the
Okay.
next evolution beyond fiber optics. Now we talk about fiber optic, how it's so fast and the internet is great. Okay, so instead of sending photons like little light bullets, you send them as quantum states. It's fragile, powerful, and impossible to clone what's called packets of information.
Mm,
I mean, in the classical internet, you can intercept the data, you can copy it, you can spoof it. But with the quantum internet, you can't intercept it, you can't copy it. If you touch it at all, the signal detects the intrusion and immediately collapses, like it self-destructs. It isn't better encryption. This is encryption enforced by physics.
mm,
And Cisco is building the framework to do it.
okay.
And the reason why this is happening right now is because now we're already beginning to see or hear about quantum computers. They're approaching the ability to break current encryption, which means
Hmm.
that when we talk about that with the quantum apocalypse, and that's fine if you have one computer, okay? But you need systems to talk to each other. So the quantum network, which is being built, is going to be built for quantum computers. The AI models need authentication far stronger than what your classical cryptography can provide.
Okay.
So whoever controls this communications for the next century controls everything. Okay? Control it all. Whoever controls the standard. Now Cisco, they see the shift. Okay, just like when
Right.
Cisco was helping build the network and internet as we see it and know it today, they
Mm-hmm.
see the future and say, hey, this is inevitable, this is happening. We need to build the infrastructure to support that next network, that next internet. So Cisco sees a shift coming. They want to own the quantum age. They've
Okay.
owned the internet backbone for the past 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to give up their position of dominance. They want to own the next one. They want to move forward.
Okay. Wow. Um, you know, that is interesting. As as I was doing some research on this particular topic, there was something that stood out to me that was glaring, man, and I wanted to bring it to the table and discuss it because I'm sure there are going to be others out there once they hear this that it's going to pique their interest too. And you know, the one thing that um the one thing that am referring to is something called the perfect three storm, right? The perfect three storm. Can you tell us about the perfect three storm?
You talk about the perfect three storm in relationship to.
The perfect three storm as it relates to what's coming with the quantum computing and quantum internet.
So when we talk about that,
Hmm.
so um, so when we start talking about the perfect storm, so when we start talking about that, we talk about things like when the encryption that runs everything is up for grabs. Okay,
Okay.
that's one piece of that puzzle, right? So the moment that we can break all encryption, that's a problem. The second piece of that puzzle, which can be very challenging, is um, the network and structure behind it that
Hmm.
allows it to be a completely separate network. So it's completely speaks on a different language, different level. We can't even intercept it. Okay, that's the second piece of that puzzle.
Okay.
So we always have to watch for that, right? So do we have the quantum computing that can break all of our encryption? Do we have the network that speaks across all platforms, and it can use some of our existing hardware, so
Mm.
we don't have to recreate everything.
Okay.
So it's pretty crazy that we can do that. And then the last piece of that puzzle is once that happens, who do you trust?
Mm.
So it's a perfect storm where you got the quantum, you've got the network where it speaks, and then who do you trust? You don't trust anybody anymore.
Right.
So it becomes a problematic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we talk, man, we talk about AI and future tech constantly on Tech Tuesday. We've had discussions where we've made some discoveries where there were these new technologies that were implementing and some of the latest and greatest tech. But when it came to quantum computing, we didn't really we did a deep dive, but we did it in whereas uh quantum computing as it relates to AI systems and AI becoming AGI and the future of AI systems becoming ASI. So, with that being said, man, what do you think quantum is going to do for networking when it comes to quantum networking?
So right now we have our encryption where we have public key like a mailbox.
Hmm.
You can drop letters into it. And the private key, somebody can open the mailbox. So if you got both the keys, you can get into the mailbox. Okay.
Okay.
Well, with quantum, what happens if the mailbox itself screams when someone tries to pick the lock? So imagine you're mailing a package that changes the shape if somebody touches it. If it arrives deformed, not perfect, somebody was touching you in your business, right? That's
Hmm.
called quantum key distribution. That's going to happen part of this networking is that you have to pass on this information, and you have to be able to
Right.
receive this information. So we've talked about all that.
Right.
Let me grab a little something here so I can get you clear. Here we
Yeah,
are.
because we talked about PKI and we talked about other elements of secure communication.
Right. And this is coming.
Yeah.
This is not like we're talking sci-fi fantasy. This stuff's real. It's today. It's happening. The
Mm-hmm.
protocols and the pieces of the puzzle that we talk about are um, already being tested, so that the standards are being built.
Okay.
So once the standard is built and they say this is the standard, everybody's going to follow the standard.
Right.
So I mean, it's a big deal.
Okay. For our listeners, for the motivators to the smarts, for the our final bosses, can you tell them a few classic examples? What's the difference between classical internet and quantum internet that's coming?
Okay. So the classical is we'd use zeros and ones.
Mm-hmm.
And with zeros and ones, we create these things called bits and bytes and all that. We pass our data on as packets.
Right.
Okay. So because we're using zeros and ones, that's how we understand computer language,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, when we go into changing from there, we move into the quantum internet where you can't intercept it without detection. You can't
Okay.
clone the quantum state. It's like the dice that you throw up in the air.
Mm.
You know, you can't change them while they're already up in the air.
Okay.
Okay. If you try, the signal will collapse.
Got it.
It's not better encryption. It's physics enforced security.
Okay.
So that's the difference. It's zeros and ones. You copy it, you save it. It's a static entity.
Okay.
Quantum is, I'm not gonna say alive, but it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
act more like that. It's um, more fluid.
Okay.
So you can't hack what the laws of physics won't allow.
Right. And can you tell us why? Because I'm sure people are going to be like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? We're going to have something that's unhackable."
Yeah, it's going to be unhackable. There's a
Hmm,
theory that's out there. It's called the Heisenberg principle. That means that if you measure water, the act of measuring the water changes the temperature of the water.
that's true.
That's
That's
what
true.
quantum does.
Hmm,
So, you know, some of the things we have with the way they own the data, the routers, the protocols, how the data moves from one place to another place. Okay,
mm-hmm.
we whoever Cisco owns all of that, and not owns it, but is involved in it deeply with every routing protocol. They owned it.
Right.
So the modern world's built on.
So you're telling me the quantum verse, we're going to say quantum verse. The quantum verse itself becomes its own security guard because you can't hack what physics won't allow.
Exactly.
Hmm,
Absolutely. You cannot do it. You know, it's happening now. Quantum computers are almost here. They'll break every encryption standard we know. There's
okay.
not a maybe. It's just happening. It's a countdown that's happening right now. AI systems need to authenticate and verify, far beyond what the classical crypto can provide.
Right.
We know this because deep fakes happen. You heard of deep fakes, synthetic
Yes.
data,
Mm-hmm.
autonomous agents. Remember we talked about the agents, how dangerous they are? They have
Yeah.
access to all of your stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you have to, how do you trust that? How do you trust your agent? So you need unbreakable trust layers. And then whoever sets the standard controls the global communications for the next 100 years. Look,
Wow.
China knows it, United States knows it, Cisco knows it. And who wants
Mm,
to be in charge? Cisco wants to be in charge. because they have been in charge for years and they want to
Yeah.
continue to be in charge.
Okay. That's definitely a paradigm shift in thought processes, right? We're not talking about incremental improvement. We're talking about a complete rewrite of the rule book. And since people they hear quantum and they think science fiction or it's 20 years away. And as you said, it's here and it's here now, right? But Cisco doesn't play with vaporwave. They play with inevitability. So, we talked about a few different things that stood out and that were very profound in the discussion already. Can you discuss 3 converging forces creating this perfect storm?
Well, we've discussed it in the past. We talk about it, we touch it.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 things that happen is, like I said, quantum computers are here. And we think that they're not here because we deal with the consumer side of things, but they're here. They're
Right.
coming. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're just fine tuning. What they're doing now is they're making them more and more precise, less errors. The problem with the quantum computers right now is there's too many errors. So they got to cut the error count down. So once
Right.
they get the errors down to a reasonable amount, then the quantum computer is going to be much closer to here.
Mm.
As an example, one thing that's happening in the marketplace right now is Micron, a major manufacturer of memory, which you use for your computers, your RAM, stopped making consumer memory. And they're using now, all of their technology is now pushing towards AI memory, memory used by AI. So they got out of the consumer memory business and they're now into creating memory used for AI. And you say,
Wow.
well, why does that matter? Because there's only 3 major players
Mm-hmm.
in the world who sell memory. One of them just stopped. And so if you go to buy memory right now for your computer and you say, I want to buy 64 gig of RAM that's DDR5 for my gaming computer, it went from $200 standard price is now over $800.
Wow.
So that's happening. That's a big deal. That's
Yeah.
one of the big things that's causing this perfect storm, if you want to call it, is
Mm-hmm.
because all this hardware is now being pushed towards creating AI and quantum computers. This is where it's
Wow.
going. Everything's leaning in
Mm.
that direction. Big push that way. So it does
Okay.
make it a countdown.
Mm.
And these AI systems are not going to speak the same language we speak. If you've ever done networking, you understand that we talk on we call it TCP/IP version 4. This is
Right.
the internet runs on numbers, not names. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's only a certain amount of numbers. But if you go to what's called IPv6, it insanely increases the number of addresses that are available.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like increasing your real estate. So the problem with that is that once you start speaking on a different language than everybody else, on a different platform than everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be the haves and the have-nots. It's going to be, if you can afford it, you can be on the good network.
Wow.
But if you can't afford it, you're going to be relegated to garbage,
Mm.
comparatively so, or
Wow.
not secure. You're going to be
Yeah.
in a dirty network, and all the folks that can afford it, they're going to be on the clean network.
Mm.
And then once that happens, who's going to be on the good, clean, fast networks? The big boys.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. The big countries
Yeah.
that have the money to do it, and the big
Right.
companies who have money to do it. They're going to be up there pushing for the new hardware, the new
Mm.
quantum, the new AI. I mean, that's what they're doing right now.
Mm.
Everything you hear out in the world is AI, 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 because everybody's pushing that direction. And yes, it's not efficient because it makes a lot of mistakes. But look at how far it's come in the last 3 years.
Right.
All right. Take that, multiply that. How efficient is it going to be in the next 5 years?
Yeah.
And now give it a backbone that it can handle the speed.
Mm.
That's
You
going to
know,
make a huge
yeah,
difference.
a huge difference. You just mentioned something about digital real estate, and it brings me to mind of the thought of it being like a digital land grab, right? A digital land grab on scale that we've never seen before, right?
Hmm.
And since the beginning of the original internet protocols.
Yeah, absolutely. A whole new world. It's like,
Mm.
let's just say, I'll give you the example. Let's just say that we suddenly realize, oh, we're on Mars,
Oh,
but we can't speak the same way on Mars as we do on Earth.
mm-hmm.
But the first person who goes out there and figures out how to harness Mars owns it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. You're
Okay.
going to have these companies, they will be in control. And it doesn't matter what happens, it matters who handles the traffic for what
Right.
happens. And that's the thing. Cisco has moved themselves and positioned themselves to be that world leader
Mm.
when it comes to the new traffic. We thought that it was a big deal when we went from dial up internet to a cable
Mm-hmm.
and even sometimes wireless, right? We thought that was really cool. And then, with the cable, it only got so fast and then it wasn't reliable. They got overloaded. So that network got stressed.
Right.
So what do? We moved to fiber optic. Now everybody knows what fiber optic is because if you can get
Mm-hmm.
fiber optic in your house, your internet is blazingly fast and ultimately reliable.
Yes.
So imagine now, step that up one layer and just go to the next newest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine now, think about the same way as that if you were on dial-up internet right now
Oh, wow.
and your neighbor's on fiber. You see the
Yeah.
difference?
Huge
Okay.
difference. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You
Yeah.
can't even operate or function on dial-up
Mm-hmm.
right now. You can't even pull up a basic web page with dial-up. That's the kind of change that's coming. It's going to be that kind of massive fundamental change to the entire structure.
Right.
And that's as simple as we can make that one. But
Yeah.
quantum key distribution, remember, we said you have to trust what you're talking to. And we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to use the public key, private key system anymore.
Right.
Okay, we're going to do the one where it's instant.
Mm.
It's you can't do it. It's the moment you try and touch it to even attempt to hack it, the bells and whistles go crazy.
Wow. Wow. So I see Cisco. They're positioning themselves as the central infrastructure provider, and they're going
For
to
all the
win
hardware.
for all the hardware, right?
Mhm,
So that
mhm,
puts them in a win-win, regardless
mhm.
of who's in power.
Doesn't matter who's in power. Doesn't matter who. They have the hardware that makes it work.
Wow.
Yep. And they're going to
Yeah.
take the lion's share of that. Now, don't they might not have all of it, but let's say they got 80 or 90% of it.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the world is going to have to play catch up. So they win.
Yeah. They absolutely win.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Now, to my smarts, to my motivators, to my warriors, to my final bosses, look, stay with us. Don't go nowhere, because this piece right here is typically where we start to lose people, right? And we start to lose people because we're introducing new vocabulary, right? And we're introducing new vocabulary in this quantum world. And if you don't understand the terms, you can't understand the power dynamics, right? So let me break it down the only way I can as a final boss. No jargon, just straight translation. QKD. Sensei, can you translate for the community what QKD stands for?
Get that quantum key distribution. Okay.
All right.
All right. So you, when you hand off and trust somebody, that means they have the other piece of the puzzle. And if
Mm-hmm.
you handshake, then we trust each other. So with quantum, it's not a two key system. It's called entanglement, where the two pieces see the same thing and are the same thing at the same time instantly. Both sides are
Okay.
identical. So if somebody touches your stuff, you can't hack it without detection. It's not possible. Because the moment you touch the
Mm.
one side, the other side knows, oh, that one's been touched. So you make spying a physics crime instead of a cyber crime. Okay. Now, the distribution is just the handing off of the keys.
Okay.
But the important part to talk about is the quantum entanglement. This is where we go from, okay, we know how to hand off keys. We hand a key here, we got a public key, private key, or we have keys that open locks. We get that. So now let's talk about how
Right.
does this quantum stuff actually work? This is the version that nobody
Okay.
really explains properly. So we talked about the dice. Entanglement is like having two dice that always roll the same number, even if one is
Mm-hmm.
in New York and one is on the moon. You roll one dice, the other updates instantly. There's no signal, there's no transmission. It's instantaneous. It's called an instantaneous state alignment across any distance. Across any distance. They're
Okay.
already immediately linked to each other. I roll a 7. The moment I'm rolling the 7, I roll the 7 here. Everything is the same on both sides instantly. Anything interrupts that at all, then we already know immediately because I didn't roll the same. And it's not possible because it'll change the physics.
Got it.
It'll change it.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Truly
It
fascinating.
is fascinating. It's fascinating how it all happens. And no, we don't notice it because we only see the end result.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we only see the end result.
So basically, it's like mailing a package that physically changes shape if someone tampers with it.
Yep.
And during its transit. And it arrives deformed. You instantly know someone was in your business or tampering with your package.
Yep.
Not suspected, known. Okay.
And it's impossible to hack. You can't hack it. You can't hack it. Impossible to
Wow.
hack without detection. That's the key, detection.
Man. Detection. Okay. So
Right
the
now,
moment a
if
hacker
you're,
taps the line, yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, the moment the
Yeah.
hacker taps the line, what happens? If
The universe
moment a hacker,
snitches.
absolutely, the universe snitches.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So right now, if I was to, you had encryption and I copy your encrypted data, I can copy it off to the side and then try and break the keys without you knowing it because
Mhm.
I'm not touching your live data. I just copied your data and over here I'm trying to break the lock. Like if I steal a
Mhm.
copy of your envelope and I'm trying to break into your envelope, okay?
Right.
Quantum doesn't work that way. The moment you even touch it, it immediately goes, hey, 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 I'm being touched. Somebody's touching me.
Wow.
No more stealing my data and then unlocking it later.
Mm.
So, you know, then we start talking about, like I said, the rolling of the dice. You know, there's no signal, there's no transmission, instantaneous. The two dice
Instantaneous.
align instantly across any distance. It doesn't matter where they are.
Mm. I know some 3-letter agencies are going to love that infrastructure. Silent interception. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Well,
Man.
they'll be able to be secure, and what they'll
Right.
do is they'll capture the data from the unsecure networks, and then they'll have that data.
Mhm.
But they will be secure, and that's the thing about the 3 letters. They want to be secure. They don't care if anybody else is secure. They want to be more secure than anybody else.
Than anybody else. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, you know, so your dice can be here and on the moon. You can have them here and on Mars. It doesn't matter where their stuff is. They're going to be linked. Distance will have no meaning.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And quantum networking makes that particular infrastructure obsolete overnight. And
Yeah,
that's
your old
why,
infrastructure.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like dial-up internet. Who has dial-up anymore?
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, hell, who even uses beta tapes or VHS tapes anymore? We barely even buy CDs anymore.
Exactly. But I hear they're worth a pretty penny on some markets.
Some platforms.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if you can get that one with what was his name? Sinbad playing Shazam. See if you can
Oh
find that
yeah,
one.
yeah. I checked that out. It Mm,
Yeah, that's when to go
mm.
research. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So
So,
as we could go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, no. So we're talking about, because we talk about this quantum entanglement and the quantum encryption. Now we have to have something that it runs on, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
that's that QNE, quantum networked environment. Because
Right.
it's no good to have the quantum in one place. It better be able to go everywhere.
Right.
So there's certain pieces of this that are required. One is
Mm-hmm.
called a quantum router. Okay, so a quantum router. I understand it's a
Right.
router. It takes traffic from one point and allows it to move to another point.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have another new device, a new toy called entanglement repeaters.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to make that distance become not a problem when it comes to that on the moon
Right.
and
Right.
in New York. You need something
Yeah.
that's going to repeat that signal so that it's strong enough, but yet not interfere with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming on behind the heels of that is a thing called state preserving switches, which
Right.
maintains the quantum state. So you see what's happening?
Absolutely.
We're now building structure that says we're going to pass this, and we have to have all these pieces of equipment in place to make sure that whatever starts here, ends here is the same. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the hardware that's going to run all of that. And then the
Right.
other thing is called quantum safe encryption cores embedded in ASICs. Now, that's all technical, but what it
Mm-hmm.
means is nothing that touches the quantum will interfere with the quantum traffic.
Got it.
That's
Got
all that means.
it. Okay.
And all this hardware is going to mean that when you're passing quantum traffic, nothing will interfere or try to tamper with that traffic. It's not theory, it's not vaporware, it's real research and development happening with real timelines happening right now as it's being tested and the standards are being built. Once the
Wow.
standard is built, then the hardware manufacturers can build to the standard. And
Mm.
that's what's happening right now.
You mentioned ASICs, and ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about the sneaker company. We're talking about application specific integrated circuits, hard coded into silicone, right? Not software you can patch,
Mm-mm.
hardware you have to replace. You have to replace it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to
Mm.
replace these parts. So what that does is you're guaranteeing
Mm-hmm.
the integrity by
Ah,
keeping the hardware at that level is what you're
right.
doing. You maintain the hardware at that level, it guarantees the integrity. A piece of hardware
Mm.
starts to fail, you don't patch it, you just swap it out with a new one. It's happening, like really happening.
Wow. So when people say quantum networking is decades away, it's already here. Three
Oh, yeah.
steps behind the companies building it.
Right, because they're building right now for testing purposes, for validation purpose. They're already doing all of that so that
Mm-hmm.
they can start building at scale and then deploy. So what they
Right.
do is they test the theory, proof of concept, build the first one, test
Mm-hmm.
it, make sure it works, and then they make it better and build a million. Like I said, why companies like Micron stopped building consumer memory and are moving into that realm for building what is required at the chip level. You see where we're going with this, right? The
Absolutely. Yeah.
massive structure is going to be moving towards building this new equipment.
Mm.
We're going to see on our consumer side, our cheap computers that we used to have are going to suddenly start to get more and more expensive.
Yeah.
That is coming. That
It
is
is coming.
here.
It is here. Absolutely.
So what
Absolutely.
you used to buy a $500 or $600 computer and be good to go, that's going to cost you now 2 or 3,000 again,
Absolutely.
because the hardware is going to be
Definitely
more
change.
rare. It's going to
Yeah.
be more
Yeah.
rare. You're not going to just be able
Mm-hmm.
to find it off the shelf, big volume, oversaturated market. No, the manufacturers are already moving elsewhere.
Yeah.
They're moving their processes over.
Mm-hmm.
They're working on the next best thing.
Yeah.
So
And those
because they don't want to be left behind.
yeah, you're right. And those devices are going to be filled with rare earth metals and elements. Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder
Yeah.
why that's important.
Yeah. Wonder
So
why that's important.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So the last critical term we got to talk about is called PQC, post
PQC.
quantum cryptography.
Yeah.
No, we think of cryptography as I can software patch as a software thing. Nope, it's not.
Okay.
This is the emergency lock replacement kit
Mm.
before quantum computers break today's locks. So what they did is said, okay, quantum's coming. It's going to destroy all stuff. Everything's going to be shot. We talked about during the quantum apocalypse. So what do? We use PQC or post-quantum cryptography to try to put an emergency band-aid lock on our data before quantum computers can break today's locks. So you put
Mm.
on a quantum style of lock on your current data. So it's putting new technology on top of your old technology to protect it from the new technology.
Wow.
So what it is today's locks stop burglars with crowbars, okay?
Right.
All right. Quantum computers, they show up with a tank.
Mm.
Now, with PQC, we replace the lock before the tank arrives. You see the difference?
Yeah.
Because this is coming. It's not remotely fantasy. This is real, like real.
Wow. So it's not about waiting for quantum computers to become a threat. It's about hardening your infrastructure now while you still have time.
While you still have time. Absolutely.
Mm.
Because it's too big.
Mm.
It's too big.
Can you break down the timeline for us? Or
Mm.
what we looking at?
Well, timeline?
Yeah.
Well, sooner than we think, right?
Right.
So the timeline is this is terrifying, okay?
Okay.
If you're in charge of your network, you're the CISO, okay? You're the three-letter part of the companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
The CIO, the CEO, the CISO is a security guy, okay? If you're watching, this should scare the shit out of you. Here's why. What year are we in right now?
We're definitely in 2025 at the end of
And
it.
we don't have much left, right? Okay,
Right.
so
About 2
between
weeks.
2025 and 2027,
Mm-hmm.
quantum computers will reach cryptographically relevant power. In other words, they will be able to breach encryption.
Wow.
We have less than 2 years
Mm.
when quantum computers will reach the relevance when they actually have the power and the ability to break current encryption. That's 2 years. Now, in 2028 to 2030, your classical encryption, it's going to fail everywhere across the world. Real world attacks are going to happen. Now, hopefully your banks are smart enough that what have they done? They will already have put in place the protection so by the time this hits, they won't get smoked. But anybody who's not already protected,
Right.
imagine all of your secure encrypted communications are now wide open to the world.
Mhm.
That's coming.
That's coming.
Now,
Wow.
2030,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking 4 years. That's it. 4
Yeah.
years.
4 years.
Anyone not using the PQC, post quantum cryptography, is operating naked in a digital war zone. Digital, it's a war zone.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah, I agree.
So, do you go out to a war zone with no body armor and no weapons, no way to protect yourself? No. You know
No.
better. You wear a helmet and to protect yourself from shrapnel. You wear goggles to protect your eyeballs. Imagine going out into that kind of environment with nothing.
Right.
It's crazy. Look, Cisco is embedding PQC already into
Mm-hmm.
everything. They're building it into their new firewalls, their firepower appliances, their
Okay.
catalyst switches, which are Cisco switches, their
Right.
routers, and their Silicon One architectures. This is
Mm.
in their hedge. Even if full quantum networking takes 10 years, your PQC is protecting your customers in a transition. Because we talked about how much of a panic it was for, oh God, it's coming. What do we do?
Right.
And the
2K.
PQC
Mm-hmm.
is the band-aid of what they're
Yeah.
going to do in the meantime.
Okay.
It's not 100% because you're still
Right.
talking. It's like the difference between analog and digital. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
analog is a piece of paper.
Right.
All right, digital is over the air.
Okay.
So you're protecting the paper from the air.
From the air. Mm.
Right. It's like
Yep.
2-dimensional versus 3-dimensional. We talked about quantum is going to be 3-dimensional thinking. We use current 2-dimensional thinking. So what they're doing is they're doing a bridge to protect the 2-dimensional from the 3-dimensional.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
And listen, thank you, Sensei. Smarts, motivators, warriors, final bosses, listen up. Once you understand QKD entanglement and PQC, you understand the new battlefield, right? And it should scare the shit out of you, right? And Sensei, tell us more, please. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Look, these 3 concepts represent 80% of the quantum networking. Master those, you're ahead of 95% of the IT professionals. So in other words, you better be paying attention. And
Right.
when it's time for you to upgrade your hardware, you need to ask the question, does the new hardware have this built into it?
Mm,
Now, my scary thing that scares me is all you hear about is everybody wants your stuff in the cloud, right?
right.
Put it in the cloud, put it in the cloud, put it in the cloud. What's the cloud? Somebody else's computer.
Uh-huh.
So if I put everything in the cloud, am I depending on them to protect my
Yeah,
data?
you are.
Oopsie.
Oopsie.
You
Breach,
better pay
breach, breach,
attention
breach,
to,
breach.
you better be screaming at those people.
Yeah.
Look, I have just had gotten word this last week about a breach that was a data breach that occurred for 13 months. A security
Right.
audit
Yep.
a security audit was performed in September. The breach began in October and lasted until November of this year. 1
Wow.
year and 1 month breach of PHI, insurance information, I
PII.
mean, PII, personally identifying, all the things you're afraid of getting breached, were breached for a year.
Mm,
And if I've never told you this, I'm going to tell you this now. There's one thing, no matter who you are as an adult, do this one thing, read my lips,
locked.
don't watch my hips. I'm
Yep.
telling you, this is the point of action. Every single person listening to this podcast must do this if you have not already. Lock your personal credit. Freeze your personal credit. It's free to go to the top 3 agencies. You can go to Experian, you can go to TransUnion, and you can go to Equifax. Go to each one and just Google free credit freeze. You don't have to pay for anything. You can just create an account, log in, verify who you are, and freeze your personal credit. The reason you do that is because if somebody has your PII and PHI and all that information and tries to open up a credit card in your name, they can't because you froze your credit. So every adult that you know should have frozen their personal credit.
Right.
Otherwise, somebody can open up a credit card in your name. They can act like they're you and impersonate you. They can get a car in your name, never pay for it, and then suddenly you've got bad credit because somebody bought a car that you never knew you had in
Right.
Ohio. So lock your stuff. That's
Mm,
the number one thing you need to know. I don't care what you know about anything that we talk about anywhere, go lock your personal credit, period. And you say, well, I got no credit. Doesn't matter. You got enough credit. Go lock it. So because you're paying attention to this stuff, okay, there's a 20-year timeline. And Cisco is playing in 3 distinct phases. We're going to start with phase 1. This is happening right now. They're embedding the quantum safe cryptography into their entire product ecosystem. So that means everything that they have,
right.
they're putting in it the new lock. This is called the lock replacement phase. Every piece of Cisco infrastructure is getting quantum hardened before quantum computers become a mainstream threat.
Wow.
Before they're a threat, they're already locking the door, changing the locks on the doors,
Changing the locks
which
on it.
means if you have current Cisco hardware, what does that mean? You're going to have to replace
Of course.
all of your
Oh,
Cisco hardware.
of
Okay,
course.
so let's take a look at that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Cisco's not cheap.
Right.
This is
That
a
part.
major, major expense for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
companies, like big,
Yeah.
big. So this is going to be daunting. Plus, what's going to happen to the supply chain when you start buying up all the Cisco equipment?
It's a logistical
It,
nightmare.
it's going to be on back order,
Yep.
not going to have the hardware you need, and you're going to be left
Mm-hmm.
behind.
Yeah.
Look, any organization still running classical only encryption in 2027 will be operating with security equivalent of leaving your front door wide open.
Wide open. Yeah.
Cisco customers are going to be protected by default
Mm-hmm.
because they're buying new hardware. That's what they're doing. They're already replacing their hardware because Cisco's going to say, hey, your hardware is no longer supported. You need to replace it. Look about with this Windows 10, Windows 11 thing.
Oh,
Right? If
yeah.
your hardware did not support TPM, Trusted Platform Module, to encrypt your hard drive, if it doesn't have that, you can't go to Windows 11.
Yeah.
So that says replace your hardware. That's a big
Yeah.
deal, isn't it?
It is a huge deal.
And Microsoft's not supporting Windows 10 without paying for it. So here you are. You see the same things going to happen with Cisco. They're going to do the same exact thing that Microsoft did, which is going to say, this is a new, safe, protected platform. The old platform is no longer safe. We don't support it anymore. You're not compliant.
Right.
Your safety is not guaranteed. Just like Microsoft said with Windows 10, Windows 11. So that's the first phase.
Okay.
So then, once that happens,
Mm-hmm.
now you got to remember, this is pretty smart on Cisco's part, isn't it?
Yeah. So tell us why it matters.
No, the reason it matters is because Cisco's selling inevitability. They're not selling fear. That matters because it's brilliant market strategy. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So this is how you win the infrastructure wars. You make the transition seamless.
Okay.
Now, when Microsoft made the transition from XP, Windows 98 to XP, or Windows 98 to 2000 to XP, and they moved up to Windows 7, it wasn't very seamless, was it?
No.
No, a lot of hiccups, right?
A lot of hiccups, a lot of
Right.
problems.
So Cisco learned from that, and they're going to try and make this seamless, which then brings us on to phase two. So in phase two, you're going to have what's called a hybrid network. This is the coexistence phase. This is where the things are allowed to operate together.
Right.
Remember, two-dimensional and three-dimensional are going to be able to play in the same sandbox. And you're going to have classical and quantum running side by side. Then what's going to happen is quantum will prove itself at scale. Once it's at scale, then it'll take over. But it has to be proven, accepted, and begin to use it.
Yeah.
And this is in phase two. Cisco is going to release the quantum repeaters. They extend the quantum signals across long distances. They don't touch the quantum state. Remember we talked about can't touch it, changes it?
Right.
Quantum repeaters will pass the traffic forward without changing it. A photonic link auditor. You say, well, how do I make sure that that quantum state isn't touched? Well, something has to audit it. So there's a monitoring tool that's going to be implemented, which can verify the quantum channel integrity. It makes sure that everything is clean, the channel's clean, no mud, no water. Then you have what's called entangled key generators. This is the hardware, not software. It's going to create and distribute these quantum entangled keys. Remember the two dice?
Yeah.
It's going to create the two dice. This is going to be called the quantum entanglement key generator, EKG, like a heartbeat, is going to create this thing, which it creates the two dice, which are linked. Okay?
Okay.
That's a piece of hardware. Then you're going to have quantum channel controllers. This is going to be at the orchestration layer that manage the hybrid traffic flows, because you have to remember we're going to have original legacy traffic plus the new modern traffic running together.
Right.
And this is going to create real world deployment. You're going to have the major carriers like Lumen, AT&T, Verizon. They're going to test long haul between data centers.
Okay.
Not full quantum internet yet, but they're going to take the critical part of their network and they're going to secure it with quantum secured links. That's where they're going to touch it first. They're not going to push it to the masses. That's just everybody's traffic. They're going to take the little bit I have to keep this data protected. I can spend a lot of money to protect that data, and I can't do it big for everybody, but I can protect my little piece of the pie. And that's what they're going to do, is they're going to create that to have links to protect their data. Then your big agencies, your Dow, your NSA, your NHS, they're going to deploy quantum secure communications for your classified networks. You see, not the big, broad network, but the classified, the secure network, the secure traffic.
Okay.
Then, at the same time all of that's happening, so you've got
Mm-hmm.
your big data carriers, three-letter agencies, and your banks, your financial institutions. They're going to test the quantum authentication for high-value transactions. So you don't do it for your daily penny stocks or penny stuff. You do it for the
Right.
big boy transactions. We're
Right.
transferring millions or billions. You want that to be protected, you're going to run that over the quantum authentication. So you're going to use it for the
Ooh.
high-end traffic. Once the high-end
Wow.
traffic's been proven that it works,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay, then what are you going to do? So you're already proven the concept, right?
Right.
So what's going to happen to your traffic? You're going to have two kinds of traffic.
Okay.
You're going to have the P word that we're not allowed to say,
Mm-hmm.
that traffic, and then you're going to have the high value traffic.
Okay.
I'm going to call it the royalty traffic. How's that?
Ah, yeah. Mm.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. The royalty is going to be on their network,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of us who work in the fields, we're going to be on the other network.
Right.
So that's
So,
everyday traffic, right?
okay. So for my final bosses, motivators, warriors, smarts, listen, because we already bring this home for you, right? What you heard what this sensei just said, right? What does quantum networking mean for you? Whether you're building a business, defending a network, or just trying to stay ahead of the curve, what does it mean to you? Sensei, can you elaborate on that for us?
Sure. Look, you're going to have your normal stuff, which is your Netflix, your email, your things you don't care about, right? That's just going to be on the
Mm-hmm.
regular network. But if you're building a business and you have to be secure, safe, protected,
Right.
and even in the health industry, you're going to be pushing real hard
Mm,
towards the quantum network. It's going to be a tiered security model. It's going to be tiered pricing.
right.
You don't think that the quantum is going to be a premium price level? It's going to be
Whew,
super expensive, right?
super. Right.
Yeah, the quantum is going to become the VIP lane on information superhighway.
Wow.
And this
Mm,
is where it gets crazy. We move on to phase 3. So now you
yeah.
have to remember, if you're doing a business, you have to understand in your business what's important to me. Do I have to be secure? Then I
Mm-hmm.
have to pay the VIP price.
Right.
Now I might not have a big pipe. I might have a tiny little itty bitty thread of that I pay
Mm-hmm.
top dollar for, and then everything else is okay to use on the regular network. In hybrid phase, now we have to move on to the quantum core. This is going to be 2032 to 2037. You say that's a long way from now. Yeah, well, these dates tend to move, and they tend to move into shorter timelines than we think. This is called full integration. Data centers are going to adopt a post-quantum trust plane. Every device is going to be authenticated via quantum channels.
Mm,
Every routing decision is going to be verified by the entangled signatures. Zero trust architecture becomes zero tamper. So it's not that you don't trust an untrusted network, it's zero tamper, meaning it's tamper proof. All the old threats are going to die. They're just going to be whoop, no good because you can't hack this stuff.
right.
So all of the things called the BGP hijacks, okay, the man in the middle attacks, the certificate spoofing, the DNS
Ransomware.
poisoning, all
Mm-hmm.
these things are
Yeah.
just, they're just going to go away.
Mm-hmm. No more ransomware.
Well, maybe a different kind of ransomware, but no,
Yeah.
probably not. If
Yeah.
you can afford to pay for the VIP lane, no ransomware. How's that?
Exactly.
If
Exactly.
you're poor, you're going to get ransomed. How's
Mm,
that?
yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Mm,
It's crazy.
crazy.
Everything is going to get rewritten. It's going to be changed. Everything's going to change.
So Sensei, man, thank you for the information. Let's pivot for a second, right? Let's pivot. So we discussed all 3 levels, and I'm over here thinking, I'm like, man, let's take a pivot. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. let's talk about the surveillance state, the
Ooh,
intelligence apparatus that's going to be built on silent interception, where these three-letter agencies, including Five Eyes, and the entire global eavesdropping infrastructure, right? What happens when quantum networking makes silent surveillance physically impossible?
well, right now they built $1 trillion in surveillance infrastructures based on silent interception, meaning they can watch, they grab the data, they decrypt it later, and they just quietly just take, and nobody knows what's going on. That's going to be
Hmm.
obsolete overnight.
Right.
Hackers who master the man in the middle, useless. It's
Mm.
going to be a big power shift in infrastructure, the most significant power shift in digital infrastructure since the internet itself.
Wow.
And you say, well, how does that change things? Okay, all right. So surveillance state, who's in control of the network which is running the surveillance? That becomes a question.
Mm.
You can talk about why are these things happening? Why is Cisco investing billions? You know, in 2016, that's how long ago now? Almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
China launched the quantum satellite and
Hmm.
proved the concept. You know, the EU is building quantum corridors across Europe.
Yeah.
They're looking to try and get to digital sovereignty.
Wow.
And
Mm.
why? Why they want to do that? Because we already have quantum satellites. They have DARPA funding, private-public partnerships, quantum internet corridors, connecting member states. Right now, we talk about the infrastructure. Cisco, Juniper, Nokia, they're all playing catch up, but they got to catch Cisco.
Mm.
And so Cisco's going to be the one who's doing it. So then you say, who early
Right.
adopts? Financial institutions, they have to. Defense contractors, secure
Hmm.
communications, next. And
Yeah.
then comes the important
Yeah.
one, the critical infrastructure. Those are your power grids, water systems, the pipelines. All that's going to be moved into quantum because it's critical and they can't have it being hacked.
Right.
So the losers are going to be surveillance states built on silent interception, the Five Eyes, mass surveillance programs. These things are going to become useless because you're going to have the ability to have a secure, non-hackable network.
Mm.
Now, again, who is going to have the secure network?
That's the question.
Those who can afford. If
Right.
you're poor, where you live in, the unsecure network, and you're going to be surveilled.
Mm.
Look, your cyber warfare specialists, hackers relying on the current exploits, gone. Ransomware operators dependent on encryption, gone. Late adopters, if you're a late adopter, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
If you can't afford it, you're going to be stuck out in the cold with
Mm.
no coat.
Wow.
You're going to have the haves and the have-nots.
Hmm.
You know, this is going to depend on where are you?
Yeah. It's as if
Where?
the entire playbook is becoming obsolete. Because you think about it, the trillions that were spent on signals and intelligence infrastructure, all these data centers all over the world and places like Utah, the submarine cables, the satellite internet intercepts, all of it becomes useless when quantum becomes mainstream. Useless.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
because again, it's a totally different technology.
yeah. So that brings to question. That brings me to question, right? That brings me to question about the uh the next digital war. Because if quantum networking is the defense resolution, what does the next digital war look like? Because wars don't stop, the battlefield moves and changes.
Yeah, it does. Next digital war isn't going to be about breaching the quantum networks because that's not possible.
Right.
What it's going to be is called denial. You're
Mm.
going to deny access
Deni-
to the
Right.
quantum.
Denial of service. Mm-hmm.
Right, that's the biggie. It's going to be the attack vector isn't going to be that I want to break in and listen to what you're doing. I just
Mm.
want to make it so you can't use it.
Wow.
If you can't use it, it's no good, right?
Right.
That's old school. We call it
Yeah.
denial of service. And what denial of
Yeah.
service is, if I got 100 people in a room and one person's talking, we all hear it.
Mm-hmm.
If 100 people are talking, you hear nobody.
Right.
That's denial of service.
Mm.
Okay? So there's going to be new attack vectors. Quantum channel disruption. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
physical attacks. You can destroy the hardware. So that means you're going to have to do what? Lock down, secure the hardware more than we do now.
Right.
How about the supply chain? Where you get your hardware from?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
All right, you're going to have to guaranteed
Yeah.
clean hardware because if the hardware is compromised, then everything's hurt. And
Everything's yeah.
what are the cell phones we're not allowed to use in the United States? Remember those?
Yeah.
We have
Mm.
certain cell phones we're not allowed to use in the United States because they are hardware compromised.
Right.
Then you're going to have what's called hybrid exploitation. This is
Mm-hmm.
targeting the classical quantum transition points, exploiting the organizations that are stuck in hybrid mode, and attacking the legacy systems that can't upgrade. So if they can't upgrade, they're outside in the cold and they freeze because they have not been able to upgrade.
Right.
Quantum denial of service. This is going to be the big one. You're going to have flooding the quantum channels with detection events, meaning fake events. You're going to make the quantum links unusable without breaking them. So this is going to be a point right there that's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
That denial of service is going to be big. You remember hearing the ones where they had the denial of service happen on Amazon servers on the East Coast, and so many of the big vendors were down?
Yeah. I remember that.
Imagine that happening on a quantum level. All your
Whoo,
secure
boy.
communication stops.
Mm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now you remember when we just get started, do you think we're going to have a lot of this quantum network? No, it's going to be a small
No,
amount, and then it's going to have
be
to grow.
small. Yeah.
Right, so it's going to be easy to attack it.
Mm-hmm.
Social engineering. If you can't break the tech, compromise the humans. And this is going to be the thing.
Yeah. Mm. It's going to be about physical access.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So perfect technical security just moves the attack surface to the human layer
Mhm.
and the physical layer.
Right.
But I see something else happening as humankind, tech kind, and AI kind start to merge.
Well, we are dumber than we have been before. So just so you know that.
Right.
So I think the human element's going to become a problem because, the young generation, here's how they operate their computers.
Mhm.
Click until something happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think that we're going to have the human factor is going to be a real big.
Yeah. That's
So
what
you can't hack what the physics protects. So you social engineer the operator or physically destroy the infrastructure. Just going to be those are the 2 points.
Yeah.
The next digital war is going to look more like a traditional warfare. You're going to have kinetic or physical attacks, human intelligence, supply chain interdiction. You're going to go from purely technical, step back a little bit into I'm going to call it the old school, new school, old school. So you're going to
Yeah.
use new school technology with old school methods is what's going to happen.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which means cybersecurity and physical security converge. IT and OT merge. Digital and kinetic become inseparable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be the future. And this is why military veterans with cybersecurity expertise become invaluable because they understand both domains.
Yes. Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's
in the military, you're taught. That's right. You're taught in the military. You're taught OPSEC, COMSEC, operational security, and communication security. You're taught both of those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So your military vets are going to be up in the
man. That's the convergent point right there where physical and digital warfare meets. And to my final bosses, to my warriors, to my motivators, to my smarts, as we begin to close and bring it on home. We've covered a lot tonight. Listen, we've covered a lot, right? We talked about quantum networking. We talked about Cisco and its positioning. We talked about the 20-year roadmap. We talked about geopolitical power shifts, and what you need to do and what your role is going to be, right? And here's one takeaway, right? Here's one takeaway. The internet you trust today will be broken tomorrow. Period. The end. Not might be, will be. Quantum computers are coming. The physics, it's not speculation. The only question is whether you see it coming and prepare, or whether you get blindsided when your encryption fails and your competitors are running quantum secure infrastructure. Sensei, you got final thoughts?
Yep. For everyone watching, quantum networking is not science fiction. It's not 20 years away. It's happening right now. Phase one already underway, already happening. Cisco is already shipping quantum ready hardware today. Phase two launches in 3 to 4 years. These timelines move. Don't be surprised if it happens in 2 to 3 years instead of 3 to 4. Hybrid networks are going to be at scale because everybody's going to rush to protect their networks.
Yep.
Phase three in the 2030s, full quantum core infrastructure. So you better audit your encryption now. Build quantum literacy in your team, meaning you need to learn what the stuff is. You need to include quantum readiness in every infrastructure decision. And you say, I have to replace my firewall. Well, you darn sure better be asking, does my firewall include the hardware required for the next generation?
Yeah.
Don't buy a hardware piece of device. Typically, people will buy a firewall and they expect it to last 5 years, okay? Well, if I'm buying one today, it better make it to the hybrid phase. If it's not ready, then I'm going to have to replace it in 2 years. So professionals who master this in 2025 will architect the digital infrastructure of 2035. If you know, you know.
Yeah. If you know, you know. And to my smarts, this is your critical thinking moment. My motivators, this is your opportunity to lead the transition. To my warriors, this is your battlefield, physical and digital convergence in quantum warfare, right? And to my final bosses, you bring it all together. Tonight, we have a few references out there, man. If you guys want to go do some research on your own and discover this information, a few pieces that we can add to your repository, right? The first is Cisco Quantum Networking, the roadmap, NIST, post-quantum cryptography, quantum internet, alliance research, China's quantum networks, and last but not least, my Pentagon 9/11 experience and dual combat deployments inform everything that we knew and has become what we know about infrastructure warfare. So continue to watch your number one source, Tech Tuesdays, because we have the experience. We know about the infrastructure. We know about infrastructure warfare, right? We know about it. Please go like, share, subscribe. Go like, share, subscribe. And if all this resonates with you, let it marinate in your spine, good people. Let it marinate in your spine. Please drop questions, comments, anything that you may have, concerns on any of the sites that you see us on. Shoot us an email at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. And, you know, man, we live and we live. Go watch the movie We Live. If you haven't, go watch it again.
They live?
Yeah, They Live. Yes.
Rowdy Piper.
Yeah, Roddy Piper. Go watch that movie, please. Right? It's not conspiracy, people. It's here now. Right? And by the way, go pick up Go Time. All aboard the Fired Up train if you have not. Hard copies are currently sold out on Amazon, but put your orders in. And that is going to be our show for tonight, man. Episode number 160 on our way to episode number 200. This has been the Find the Boss podcast. quantum networking. Man, this is whew, boy. Mm-mm-mm. You got any final words, Sensei, before we close?
We study the machine.
We study the
We
machine,
don't
people.
argue with the decorations. This means we focus on systems, incentives, and enforcement, not
Yeah,
symbolism, theater, or surface level distractions. We are trying to dig into the reality of what is happening in our world with technology so that we are not left behind. Because if you don't learn this stuff now,
yeah,
you will be left behind. And that's
yeah.
not the place to be.
That is not the place to
And it's
be.
changing as we speak.
It
What we
absolutely
talk
is.
about today might not be happening tomorrow because it's
Yeah,
accelerating. So
yeah.
we're trying to lay the groundwork for you to understand what's happening and what's coming so that you can be educated and not get distracted by the emotion of things, but look
Right.
at the mechanics of things.
Absolutely. The mechanics. Absolutely. And remember, people, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. We are here. I am here. This has been the Final Boss podcast. And to each and every last single one of you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Be balanced, be equal, and be smart. That is our show for tonight, people. Go do your own research, do your own due diligence. Quantum is here. Get on board before it's too late. That's the message. Y'all have a good night.